Good morning. It's November 2nd today, and we're in Hebrews chapter 4. And I'm going to read chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. Familiar verses, but I think it's good to be reminded of these things. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. There's much about the gospel that's compacted right here in these verses as well. And something that I think about is just what Hebrews is really building for us as a case about how much superior Jesus is to anything else that has been a part of the plan of God before that. He's really the culmination of that, the head of that. He brings all those things together. And the best way probably to picture that according to a Hebrew mindset was this great high priest, somebody who is in that role of Aaron that was established so far back, but is actually superior to that because it is God become flesh who dwelt with us. And so the picture then is of the priests who dwell among the people to whom they minister. And so they weren't given their own territory to possess, but they were spread out through all the rest of the tribes so that they would know how the people in the rest of the tribes lived. They weren't just centered in the temple. They didn't spend all their time within the walls of that, but they lived out amongst the shepherds and the farmers and the vineyard keepers and everyone, fishermen up in the Sea of Galilee even. They lived out there so they would know how to represent God to the people and the people to God. And so when we have a high priest like Jesus, we have one who came and lived on this earth with us. He was tempted, as it says here, in every way, just as we are. And he proved that it's possible to live a life pleasing to God. He showed what it was like to be a man in the image of God and completely, perfectly fulfilling that kind of image of God. And so now we have one who is like us, but also in perfection. And then he allows us to approach God's throne of grace with confidence because he has given to us all that we need to be pure in front of God's eyes, to be atoned for, to be sanctified in front of God. And so we can enter that throne of grace with confidence that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. So we assume mercy because we don't get what we deserved for our sin, and we get grace that helps us then to live through what's ahead of us as well. God provides the grace that we need for each and every day, and it is good for us to acknowledge that and come to Him to receive that, and then put it into practice in our lives to apply it to our own situations. So Jesus makes possible that relationship with God because he is our high priest, and he came down. He then ascended into heaven as well and sits at the right hand of God so that he can intercede for us. So that is the kind of great high priest that we have, and it's a beautiful fulfillment of that Old Testament idea of what a priest should be like.